Well, thank you very much. And on behalf of the American Heart Association, American Stroke Association, we just appreciate this opportunity to, and we appreciate also the volunteer ambassadors that we have now that are not only going to work within the communities of New Jersey to spread the awareness and the information, the educational materials, and also, as you all have now, the CPR Anytime kits to help save lives and keep people healthy in New Jersey, but also even in India, as we look to what we can do there. And the American Heart Association's overall mission is to build healthier lives free from heart, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. We have an impact goal that we've set for the year 2020 to improve the cardiovascular health of all Americans and beyond by 20%, but also reduce death and disability from cardiovascular disease by 20%. So it's something that we are holding ourselves accountable to, and the way we're going to do that is by getting out into the community and getting where to the areas where people can hear the messages, can receive the information, and the only way we're going to do that is through our volunteer ambassadors who can help us do that. This is the first time I've ever been, and it really has been spectacular, so thank you for that. And I just so much appreciate our volunteers and our hosts and all the folks who help the Heart Association, the Stroke Association, reach the goals of saving lives and keeping everybody here healthy. So with that, I think I'll turn it over now to Dr. Bobby.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for turning up in such good numbers. We tried to announce what we could to let you know. Basically, all of you have seen that heart attacks and strokes are very, very common in the Indian community for various reasons. And half the time, it is almost all the time, it is an unexpected time, unexpected place that it happens. That it's not going to say, I'm going to come, you'll be at rest at the hospital or something. It just comes wherever you are, at work, on the bus, in the field, on the road. And that is the problem with it, that you don't know when it's going to happen. And there are occasions when a heart attack can make somebody unresponsive. So we are trying to educate people to know that it's not only a stroke or a coma, a bleed or something. It could also be a heart attack in a young 45-year-old, which could make somebody unresponsive at times. And then there is a very critical window of time that we have to act. And if we don't, the quality of life is gone, or life itself is gone. Because there is a circulation deficit that occurs in the 3-4 minutes. Tell me if I get too technical, I can make it simpler. But there are 3 to 4 minutes during that time that the circulation is either slowed down or almost nil to the heart. And the heart meaning, even though the heart is full of blood, the heart does not get oxygen from that blood. It gets its oxygen from its own arteries. And if there is no circulation going because the heart is not pumping anymore, then the heart also doesn't get its oxygen. The brain doesn't get oxygen, so the vital organs don't function anymore. So once the brain loses circulation for 3 to 4 minutes, the person is a vegetable, even if the person survives. That is the problem. So even if the person does make it to the emergency room and does survive, he or she may not be able to do anything. Yes? Oh, I'm not. Sorry. And one more thing is, most of us have been under the impression for a very long time that it's only males who are more susceptible to heart attacks. Now we are getting to know more and more that females are not exempt. They are not exempt from this. The only protection for ladies is until menopause, there is a certain amount of protection from the hormones. But now that females are also working, meaning at regular stressful jobs, just like males, the stress is there for everybody equally, if not more for females, because they're trying to be housewife, mom, wife, plus doing their CEO job or whatever other job it is, plus driving on the road and everything. So the stress level is much, much higher than what it used to be. So the risk is very much almost equal for men and women. And after menopause, it is known to be equal anyway. So basically, we want to drive home the point that CPR is something that is not only for medical people, not only for doctors and nurses and paramedical people. If we try to understand the importance of it and learn how to do it, it is doable by everybody. So we have to open our minds. Just like we get a gadget,
oh, we cannot touch it. Most of us feel initially like that. But now cell phone and gadgets is a toy for everybody. Everybody knows it. So if we just open our minds and be objective and try to learn it, then we won't hesitate to act when there is a problem. We won't be onlookers. We'll actually go and do something. This is what I want to drive home the point.
And if I might, I'm just going to add a couple, and that was exactly right. That's exactly why it's so important that we feel that everybody should learn how to do CPR. And the reality of it is, if somebody suffers sudden cardiac arrest, which is essentially the heart is just fibrillating in a way that is no longer effective, unless that person is receiving CPR, the amount of time before a defibrillator gets there to shock it back, the person is likely either going to end up a vegetable or not going to make it. And the reality of it is between 90 and 95% of those who have cardiac arrest do not make it because people are not doing CPR and an AED is not, a defibrillator is not arriving soon enough. So as soon as anybody who is comfortable with learning CPR and doing CPR, as soon as that starts, particularly after somebody calls 911, the more likelihood there is of saving that life. And the way we look at it now is the breaths. You know, everybody's afraid to kind of do the breaths. The breaths are not as important anymore. What we see is the pumping, the contractions. That's the important piece, and it can be at 100 beats per minute. So if everybody knows the song Staying Alive, you know, the old song, that's 100 beats per minute. So if you do that as you're singing that song, compressions, you know you're doing it at the right amount of speed, 100 beats per minute. But the CPR Anytime kit that you'll see in front of you is a self-facilitated way to learn CPR. There's a blow-up mannequin in there to show it clicks when you're doing it right. A DVD shows you how to do it. And the best thing, one of the nice things about it is once you learn it, you hand it off to somebody else and they learn it. You hand it off to somebody else. The multiplier effect of it is very important. The hope is that everybody's comfortable to do it when somebody drops. So I just wanted to mention that. And again, thank you all so much for this. It's just another great way to get more people to know how to do CPR.
We'll come to questions in a minute. I don't know if you followed everything that he said. He also mentioned about fibrillation and defibrillator, which are all new terms for most of you and unknown terms. So basically what happens if a person becomes unresponsive from a heart attack, what happens is the heart, which is supposed to be beating at 72 or so, is no longer regularly beating. If it doesn't beat regularly, the effectiveness of the physical pump is zero. Because instead of doing this, the heart is like vibrating like this. If it's vibrating like a tuning fork, the effectiveness of the pump is zero because there's no movement like this at all. So that is what is ventricular fibrillation. Those are the things he was referring to. And there is a next step after the compressions. There is in India, I was traveling and I saw in the airport, the bus is taking me from one place to the flight and stuff, and I see the AED box is there in every bus. I asked a few people, do you know what that means? Of course, nobody knows. And the bus driver and the bus conductor know absolutely nothing about anything. So basically what I'm saying is, they are there as showpieces, and that's no use. And the defibrillator is the next step. Once we do physical compression, if somebody knows how to use a defibrillator, they can undo that fibrillation to bring back a normal rhythm. That is what that is. And it doesn't require, the way they made that machine is a very simple process so that somebody who's absolutely non-medical can use it so long as they become comfortable with the gadget use. And I think gadget use is something everybody's becoming very comfortable with these days. As new iPods and new iPhones and new something comes up, everybody's learning it that quick. So I think it's time that we move on and say, this is not just for paramedicals and medicals, so maybe we can save lives within our families and within our neighborhood and within our work field or wherever it is. So I'm trying to see how we can get the bus station, bus drivers and conductors, gym instructors, and probably the college students are ready for it. They are ready to learn like a sponge, and they are teenagers and old enough to do these things. So, and they are also good at gadgets. So if we can get these people educated, then we can get things, we can probably save a lot of lives and save a quality loss. Because as I said, as he said too, after 3-4 minutes, even if the patient does survive, there is no quality of life. He's like a vegetable.
So what's the use, right? So that's why we are trying to drive this home to tell you that this is not something only for paramedicals and doctors and nurses. If people get comfortable, you can actually save lives. And I would like to thank the American Heart Association for coming forward to help us help the Indian community get educated. And the CPR take-home kit is a thing that they are giving out to us. It basically gives you the opportunity to take home and watch it repeatedly and practice for yourself and whoever else comes to your house, so that way a lot of people get to know. And naturally, any gadget, you keep using the iPhone, that's why you know how to use it. So unless you keep doing it, you never know, you're never comfortable. That's the reason we are asking you to take it home, use it as and when, and get familiar. So then, CPR, it's also that as you will watch the DVD, you will see, it's not like massaging a muscle, because there is the rib cage and the sternum, which is a big bone. So you have to compress not just like this, but real force. And then 100 per minute, as he said. So that is why we need to learn it. If we don't learn it, we won't be effective. Although we are pretending to do it or attempting to do it, we won't be effective. I would like to now hand over the mic, to Dr. Radha Rajagopalan, who is also my chitti, my mother's sister, and she's in Apollo Hospital as the Director of Medical Education and a practicing pediatrician. She's been in Apollo for a long time, and she will tell you about things that they are doing in Apollo and what more they could do. Right now, they do have some educational activities for public, and I would like to also take CPR kits for these educational activities, so people there can also get to actually hands-on experience and get to be comfortable.
A very good evening to all of you. It's very nice that there are so many people that have come to this meeting. And above all, I would like to thank Mr. Bill Thompson, who is here. It's very nice of him, Dr. Narayanan, Dr. Krishna, Mr. Guruvayurappan, and my dear niece, who is a professional, medical professional, nephrologist, and a professional physician training. We are very proud of her. Now, this is a very nice opportunity for us to talk about what the public should do in case of emergency. This is a good partnership with American Heart Association. And in Apollo, like I belong to Apollo Hospitals in Chennai. As you all know, Chennai Hospital was the first one to start, and now we have in many cities Apollo Hospitals, almost 35 hospitals run by the Apollo Hospitals management, and there are many clinics and so on and so forth. And our chairman, Dr. Pratap Shivedi, is well known to everybody, and he has emphasized. And he has been a cardiologist, and hence a lot of emphasis has been on cardiology. And I'll quote one instance wherein, in the beginning years, we just called up a few people from the, from corporates as well as from top positions, and we called them and just gave a talk about CPR, which will be useful, just like that. And a week later, one lady turned up. She said, I listened to the class where they said you can even do heart massage. Suddenly somebody in the neighborhood had fainted, and she didn't know what to do, but she had heard this, that she can pump or something like that. She said she did pump somewhat, and then brought the patient there, and everybody said somebody has done a good thing because this patient was in fibrillation. Now what I'm trying to bring to the notes of all of you is, informations like this, if they are well taken, can definitely be very useful, and therefore it will be helpful in resuscitating the people. Of course, we talk a lot about even prevention, but at the moment what we are talking is CPR. Now, for instance, in Apollo Hospitals, we are actually Apollo Chennai's regional training center for American Heart Association, and we conduct advanced cardiopulmonary resuscitations, ACL courses per year. But apart from it, for the public, these advanced courses are mostly for the doctors and the paramedics maybe. But we also conduct a lot of community-based lifesavers, life support programs. We have this basic life support program, and in this, we do bring in some mannequins and call people in groups and try to give them some, first-hand training. And this is given to all our employees in the hospital and who are non-medical as well, and to a lot of other people from the corporate sector whenever they ask us to give this. And we have trained a lot of traffic police officers so that they would be familiar with all these things. And we really went a step ahead. We said, we have these three-wheelers in India, these auto rickshaws. They carry a lot of the people all around the whole cities in India, and many times even the patients are even brought by them. So we brought in a few of these auto rickshaw persons and taught them some of these basics, and they really appreciated it. So when we found that it is being appreciated, it can also be put to action, and that will be a life saving for the public. A lot of the nurseries, I'm a pediatrician, we teach pediatric first aid to a lot of the school teachers, and that is very helpful. Similarly, we have this basic life support from women's social groups, some college students, but particularly physiotherapists, and as you mentioned, the gymnastics, gym areas, and some of the sports arena, we make sure that people are informed and people know about it. And these are some of the things that we are doing. And it is not enough to do it once, one bit of training. It's a training that they need again and again. If you do it once and then you don't do it again, you're really going to forget it. So it should be done again and again, periodically, maybe once a year, once in 2 years, I don't know. We'll have to see what will be the best time period for them. But a large number of people should be trained again and again as well. So all that costs a lot of money, the educational material, the kits and all that. At the present time, we give them a lot of educational material, but mannequins are all usually with the organization, the hospitals, and that is how we give the training. And at the present time, I'm very pleased with my niece because she's doing something like she's going to give a big program in Chennai, and I think this is the first time she's told me all this, so we'll have to, the Apollo Hospital will readily try to help in, bringing in the doctors there to, help her with the program for the public. So it needs actually that the public should be well educated. This is just the beginning, and I think we will have more such programs to come, and this will definitely help the public. And I'm very pleased with the AHA that they are concerned so much about the public education as well, and it is a wonderful thing. I'm sure you all will appreciate that, and I thank the AHA for this. And,